Hey there, e-commerce Fastlane listeners. I want to take a quick moment and give a shout out to an amazing sponsor, Absolute Web. Now, if you're looking for a powerhouse team to take your Shopify store to the next level, then look no further. Absolute Web is a full-service design and e-commerce development agency. They've been pushing the boundaries of what's possible on Shopify for over 2 decades. Now, whether you need a highly customized design that truly sets your brand apart, a complex integration to kind of streamline your operations, or even a complete site implementation from the ground up, Absolute Web has got you covered. Now, they have an in-house team of UI and UX designers. They have architects. They really are the go-to all-in-one solution for e-commerce brands that really want results and they want them now. And get this, if you're currently on another platform and you're considering to make the switch to Shopify, the experts at Absolute Web have deep experience in migrations too. They'll make the process smooth and painless, and you can start reaping all the benefits of being on Shopify. So if you're ready to build, optimize, or even scale a high-converting e-commerce storefront, head on over to absoluteweb.com and you can learn more about their extensive technical and creative e-commerce services. That's absoluteweb.com. And now back to the show.
You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Welcome back to E-commerce Fastlane. I'm your host, Steve Hutt. Thanks so much for tuning in today. There's so many podcasts out there to choose from and, direct-to-consumer marketing and even the Amazon world. And I just really appreciate the fact you're taking time and listening to today's episode. It's going to be an awesome one. I'm thrilled to have this guest on today. His name is Dan Brownsher. He's the CEO and co-founder of a company called ChannelKey. And they're at channelkey.com. And they're a full-service Amazon account management and advertising agency. What's really interesting about Dan is he has a significant journey kind of in entrepreneurship and in direct-to-consumer. And that really is what's helped him grow the ChannelKey business. They really are a powerhouse agency. They manage over $1 billion a year in revenue for their clients. This episode today, we're really, Dan, hopefully he's going to unpack a lot of his wealth, a lot of his knowledge that he's gained both as a leader and as a business owner. And I'm really excited to learn about how he helps clients both approach Amazon and how to be successful with Amazon, because it can be challenging. I heard the latest stats, like 1 out of 2 transactions that are e-commerce, like retailer related, are done on Amazon, and a lot of research is done on Amazon. And you search your brand on Amazon and likely people are paying your branded term and are trying to sell their product. So you have to be on Amazon. I think we're going to sell that to you hard today. So I'd like to welcome Dan to the show.
Thank you, Steve, for having me. Super excited to be here and look forward to our conversation.
I know, this is lovely, right? Amazon, it's one of those things that it's a necessary evil where, hey, like I said, half, I believe, of revenue online is done on Amazon. And I'd argue that if a brand has not chosen at least a select range of their SKUs to be on Amazon, you're completely leaving money on the table. So I just want to hear right from the top. I'm coming in hot here about sell me on and sell people listening, if you're not on Amazon, why they should be there.
I love this topic, Steve. So let me give you a couple of statistics. Something like 60 to 65% of all product searches on the internet right now are starting on the Amazon platform. So it is a brand and product discovery platform. And if you're not there representing your brand or representing your products through some sort of intermediary or distributor or retailer of record, your competitors are absolutely on the platform. Okay. So if there is an opportunity to convert a new customer or sign up a new customer, if you are not there, your competitors are getting that consumer. Furthermore, Amazon is extremely ubiquitous, and the barriers to entry to become a seller on the platform there's basically none. It costs you $40 a month to be a professional seller. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that like to seize on that opportunity. So if you are a brand and you've got high branded search, high traffic, and you are not listed or the products are not for sale on the platform, there's a very, very, very high likelihood that there is some enterprising entrepreneur out there that is trying to buy your goods at wholesale and become the retailer on the platform. So even if you don't want to be there, chances are you're there anyways, and you have no choice.
Yeah, and I also tell people, I say, listen, go and just type in your brand in Amazon, assuming you're not selling there yet, and you'll be shocked at what actually comes up, because definitely people are hijacking your branded terms.
They are.
Because of your brand equity. I think it's so interesting. Do you have any horror stories about those sort of things that you found out in your time on Amazon, and then that really proves to a client, say, no, see, this is why we can help you?
Yeah, let's see. I've been operating on Amazon either as a seller or an agency owner since like 2010. So I've got tons of crazy stories about just operating on the platform in that environment. I think as it relates to this question, I think of one example where really known subscription-based D2C brand was not active on the Amazon platform. This was a few years ago. We worked with them. They're a subscription underwear business. And they came to us and said, hey, listen, we want to figure out if Amazon can drive incremental revenue for our brand. Help us understand that, help us unpack that. And so we did our research. We use a lot of technology, and we've got a lot of smart people on my team, analysts on my team, and we pulled the data. And lo and behold, we found there was a ton of search volume for this brand on the platform, and there were no offerings for sale. In this case, which is unique, there were literally no offerings for sale. But what there was a bunch of Chinese-based brands that were knocking off this product type for this particular brand and selling. So they're buying all the branded traffic up and selling a knockoff version of that product, not infringing on the trademark, not saying they were the brand. It wasn't counterfeit. They were just knocking off the styling of the product. It was in soft lines. Again, it was an underwear brand. So I guess that goes back to my point, is people are starting their product discovery journey on the platform. And if you're not there, somebody else is getting that business.
No, you're 100% right. Now, what about those that say, okay, I agree that I should be on Amazon, and they have started, but they're finding that their acquisition costs are quite high. They're finding it very, very competitive. And they're really, I guess what they're doing is that they find it almost overwhelming. And I think because there's a couple different types of people. I know we kind of talked before recording. There's these people that are kind of get involved in some of the self-serve models that are available in Amazon to maybe have Amazon ads running and these sorts of things. And they think it's working because I'm on Amazon and my products are coming up on sponsored areas, and clearly I'm getting sales, but then net the profit is just not there. And so what do you say to those people that are just kind of the set it and forget it people using the self-serve tools?
Yeah, I think if anybody ever comes to me, whether that's an entrepreneur, a brand owner, or a brand themselves, and they think that Amazon is a set it and forget it type environment, then I will emphatically tell them that is not the case, right? And it could, in a lot of cases, it's funny, I get this inbound question a lot of time from a lot of friends. Like, hey, is Amazon like the new kind of passive income type place where I can go pay somebody to find me a product and run my Amazon business for $8,000 a month? And the answer is emphatically no. It is not that. And the reason it's not that is because, again, to my earlier point, the barriers to entry are ridiculously low and basically non-existent. So guess what? You can have an amazing product in sales month or sales quarter because you found some niche to enter and you've done really well. But guess what? What's going to happen is the competition is going to roll in and they're going to come after you. And so there is no set it and forget it. And the ad environment on the platform is super complex and it's getting more and more complex. There's different ad types. There's different ways to engage with consumers inside the funnel. And it changes. It changes over time. So if that's the idea and that's the mindset, then Amazon may not be the right platform, right? It's just it doesn't work like that.
Right. I find interesting too is that, and you mentioned before about the fact that a lot of queries for product is really having on Amazon directly. I mean, I'm a consumer. I go to Amazon directly too. Or if I hear about something, Even if I have the direct URL to the direct-to-consumer site, I actually go to Amazon to double-check the reviews and to double-check to see what the price is right. Now, we'll see if I'm going to shop direct or if I'm going to shop on Amazon, but at least it's a really good comparison engine.
It's an amazing comparison engine, right? And to your point, Steve, you're a Prime member, right? And if they get you there and you like it and the price is right and you can leverage your Prime membership and get it in 24 to 48 hours and return it, no questions asked, and avoid having to sign up on a new site or give your credit card information to somebody, like why would you not want to transact business that way? It's super clean and easy. And right, Amazon is a trusted brand, right? From a consumer perspective. So like you can trust the reviews, you can trust the program, you can trust the Prime, you can trust the infrastructure. So yeah, it's 100% a brand and product discovery platform. There's no question about it.
All right, I'm sold. Let's talk about ChannelKey, your business. I know you have this backstory, entrepreneurial. Let's talk about what happened in the past leading up to ChannelKey. I guess I would like to do is it's nice to get warm and fuzzy and understand, an entrepreneurial's kind of roller coaster ride to doing it themselves as a direct-to-consumer person and brand, and then working your way to the agency kind of a done-for-you service with technology.
Yeah. So let's see. I grew up. I'm based in the U.S. I live in Las Vegas. I grew up in the Midwest, St. Louis. I moved to Columbus, Ohio, to go to college with Ohio State. I'm a Buckeye. Graduated from Ohio State in 2004. I co-founded a business with a partner who I met I was a free intern. I think my sophomore year of college, I applied. I interviewed with him in his apartment on campus. He built this startup, a mobile advertising business, and I was an intern. And I had 3 jobs over the summer, and I worked for him for free. And that's how I met him. Became close friends. Built that business. I graduated, and I'm a sales guy at heart. And so out of college, I got a job selling spine implants to neuro and orthopedic surgeons. So I did that for a bit. I actually did it for about 10 years. But during that time, this same friend that I helped co-found this, digital or mobile advertising business with, he and I were friends. He's a serial entrepreneur. He started an online business sourcing purse hooks with his then girlfriend, now wife, selling them on eBay. Right. So he and I was on actually at his bachelor party on a train to Munich, Germany. And he and I in that moment said, hey, why don't we do the same business model that you and your future wife are doing, but with cufflinks and money clips and wallets.
Right.
So the intent at that point for me was to build a side project or side hustle per se. And literally all I cared about was learning how to sell stuff on the internet. Like I didn't even know what it was or what it meant or what it was going to be. So we did that. I went to Alibaba. We started finding all these cufflink manufacturers, and we were buying products from China and having them shipped to Ohio. And so I was very active in that business in my basement, in my free time, taking photos of cufflinks. We were listing them on eBay. I was fulfilling these orders out of my basement. I had stacks of just packages. And in between like these surgeries I was going to, I would be going to the post office and shipping out these cufflinks. And that's literally how it started. And then my partner moved to Vegas. We started attending all these trade shows in 2009, 2010, these like category shows that, could be the pet show in Vegas or could be the magic show, which is like all the fashion brands or soft leather goods brands. Started going to these shows and buying all this brand name merchandise directly from the brands or their distributors. And we became in short order, a massive reseller on the Amazon platform. So started as private label, switched to becoming some sort of distributor, right, and reseller. And this was like in 2010, pre-Amazon advertising days, early FBA days, that we hit it, and the business like exploded in a good way.
Right.
And quickly saw that we ended up becoming a commodities trader on Amazon. Right. I mentioned earlier multiple times that there's no barriers to entry. So guess what?
Yeah.
If we're selling, we're selling this cool Tommy Hilfiger brown wallet or whatever it is. We might be the only seller, and then in 60 days, there might be 10 other sellers. Everybody's competing on price, and we become a commodities trader. So we pivoted the business to becoming an exclusive seller on the platform. So we'd go to these brands like Tommy and say, Tommy, let us sell your wallets exclusively. In exchange for that exclusivity, we're going to run your ads. We're going to fix your catalog. We're going to fix your storefront. Basically, we're going to help you guys represent better on Amazon, because nobody knew what they were doing. And in a lot of cases, they still don't know. But we were still buying merchandise. We were still buying the inventory. Eventually, our thesis was for Amazon to build a winning business long-term, if you're going to acquire inventory, you got to own the brand. So we pivoted that business back to private label, and we continued growing it that way and sold it to private equity in 2021. But simultaneously, we said, hey, listen, we know all these brands. We know how to build these best-in-class Amazon business because we did it for ourselves. Like, we have a warehouse. Like, we've done everything required. Let's create a service model or an agency to help these brands. And so we did that. So we baited it in 2016 successfully, and then officially spun ChannelKey out in January of 2017. And that's where we are. So today I've got about 85 people on my team. We're fully remote. We work with some of the biggest brands in the world, and we run some serious volume through the Amazon platform from a GMV perspective and from a media perspective.
It's lovely. Thanks for sharing that. It's so cool to hear people's stories, right? I mean, and it's nice that you're kind of paying it forward to all the things that you've learned are just like one more step towards what you're trying to build. And you never really know. That's the really thing about entrepreneurship. You never really know where you're headed, but it's clear that, and I'm probably in the same boat as you are to a certain degree, where I was involved with eBay. I did have my own private label, and certainly, selling contact lenses and eyewear, and kind of continued on in agency world. And then, now having this, having the show, it's just, I never thought I was going to have a podcast or a blog, but it just seemed to make sense because I have this life of learning kind of mantra. And that's why we're chatting today, because I like to learn about what others are doing and how they're getting, or how they're being successful and how they're helping others get there too.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Steve. I've heard some of your background. It's super cool and super impressive. But I think the net to me is like, and I see this stuff all the time on LinkedIn, there's never a great time to start a business. Right? It's like, when is the perfect time to start a company? The answer is probably never. Like, there's always some other more concrete way to build something, or more of a sure thing. Right? But that's not the point. The point is pick a lane, try and get into an environment that has some opportunity and upside, and just learn it. And you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But if you're in it, then opportunities present themselves. And that's what creating your own luck is. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had a great life prior to wanting to learn how to sell stuff on the internet. So that literally was all I cared about. And then we stumbled upon Amazon, and lo and behold, Amazon just kind of changed the entire e-commerce environment. And here we are.
The old thing about the luck comment, when preparation meets opportunity, right? So
that's right.
Put in the work. You never know what could happen. So with ChannelKey, let's kind of get into some of the tactics now, because I know that there's, with 85 team members, and there's obviously some technology that makes a lot of this engine work, and you have a lot of experience around all of these pieces. So can you talk a little bit about like more on a high level first? Like, what's the true business strategy if a direct to consumer brand's doing a couple $1 million online right now, but they're dabbling only in Amazon? What do you say to them about like what you can do to help them? Like, is there some kind of an audit, or I just don't know what the step number one is.
Yeah. So for a D2C brand like you're discussing, that would be what we would do. We would say, hey, okay, this is interesting. So by the way, like, we love entrepreneurs and we love working with established brands. Like, that's our sweet spot. It's really hard to create a net new market on Amazon. Okay. Especially today. So D2C brand with traffic, with history, with good product, with a cohort of customers, we can absolutely work with that. And the first step is an audit, right? So let's index Amazon for your products or your product type or your competition. Let's look at the volume. Let's look at the competitors. Let's look at the price points. Let's look at the margin opportunity. Let's look at how much the CPCs are for your primary search terms. And let's try and build you a TAM, right? A total addressable market for the Amazon marketplace. Who are the players, and what's it going to cost you to participate on the platform? And it's all data driven, right? We can be as subjective as we want, right? But that doesn't always work, right? It's what does the data tell us, and what does the opportunity set look like? And can you effectively enter the market? And in a lot of cases, what we find out is, hey, listen, there's a ton of search demand for your product type, and there's a bunch of actually gray market goods that are living on the platform that are being sold. And so which may or may not be a good thing, right? If there's already demand built in and you just have to clean up your distribution, that could be an absolutely fantastic thing. So the first order of business is let's quantify the opportunity, do some sort of gap analysis and understand how big the opportunity is. And sometimes it's massive and sometimes it isn't, and that's okay. But for us as an agency, and we're very selective in who we work with because we want to make sure we can create a good outcome.
Right.
Do we believe that this brand that has the resources, the ability to execute, quality of product, quality of brand to really build something substantial on the Amazon platform? And we'll do that. We'll do that analysis and have a discussion about it.
So interesting. One topic that comes up too that I'm just thinking out loud here right now is about the retention efforts. Because that's one of the reasons why maybe the direct-to-consumer world is saying, hey, have your own store, have a home base, get an email list going and a SMS list going and think and have the data, this RFM, this recency frequency monetization strategy. What are we doing to kind of go out and get the second, third, and fourth sale and build this lifetime loyalty? How does Amazon fit into that mix as a growth driver for retention for a brand?
So I love this question, Steve.
Thank you.
So let's see. If I kind of zoom out a bit, okay, and I want to think about the consumer, my opinion is that you want to make sure your products are being sold where consumers are shopping.
Correct.
So let's make it easy for them to transact business, okay? And if that's on your website, fantastic. If that's through social, fantastic. If that's through TikTok Shop, fantastic, okay? But invariably, there's 100 plus million Prime members on the planet and they shop on Amazon.
Right.
So let's make sure product A is available. So again, if I am a consumer and I'm considering making a brand switch, and I go to Amazon and search and you're not listed, you might have lost the LTV of that consumer right there. You might have killed it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The second thing is Amazon over time has become very brand centric and brand focused for forever, right? In 2010 up into 2017, 2018, it was super transactional, right? It wasn't necessarily brand friendly. It was about the transaction. And what we've seen over the years is Amazon's changing their focus towards focusing on brands, like giving brands the ability to target customers on platform, off platform. Giving brands the ability to build out very robust storefronts that look and navigate like websites.
They do, yeah.
Right? Allowing you to engage with customers like directly via the Amazon platform, allowing you to put a widget on your Shopify site to extract inventory from your FBA inventory base and have it shipped by Amazon, right? So it's a brand-centric platform. And from a continuity perspective, okay, specifically, we've had a lot of success stories with consumable brands and a lot of supplement brands. Amazon has a continuity program, okay, and it's called Subscribe and Save.
Right.
Okay, so if I sell a supplement, a protein supplement, and I want to get that supplement every 30 days, guess what? I can sign up for Subscribe and Save on Amazon and get it delivered to my doorstep, no questions asked, or a 5 or 15% discount.
Love that.
Which is amazing. So then what? So then it becomes, if I've got high retention on Subscribe and Save, then it becomes a customer acquisition game. And if I understand the LTV of the consumer on the Amazon platform, man, it opens up this entire opportunity set of different ad types you can leverage, okay? Like you can leverage DSP, build awareness, and then leverage these really cool data tools like Amazon Marketing Cloud to literally see how consumers are interacting inside the ad funnel at every stage. Okay, so if the objective is I need new to brand customers or new acquisition target customers that get on to Subscribe and Save, like you can build a pretty robust financial model and strategy around just obtaining new customers and activating them on a continuity program. It's really fun. It's super cool. And we've had a lot of success with it.
So another question comes up recently. I got DM'd this recently that people are irritated about, Amazon obviously is a for-profit business.
Yes.
And what's interesting is their fees have gone up a lot over the last few years. And over the last year, it's been, I don't say 100% increase, but 50 for sure. And so what do you say to that, to people that say, this is one of the reasons why I'm not doing so well on there? And then is there software or with your team, how do you handle that when you understand all of the fees that are, because they're non-negotiable? It just is what it is. It's baked into, your ROAS. So can you expand upon that about, fair enough, the rates have gone up, but there is technology that can help understand all of that and then make intelligent decisions for the brand?
Yeah. So I've sold on Amazon since, call it 2009, 2010. And the one constant is that every single year,
Yep.
it gets more complex, okay?
Uh-huh.
And the fees go up.
Of course.
Every single year.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yep.
it's, to me, it's just more of the same. Okay. So there's a set of fixed costs to do business on the platform, and there's a set of variable costs. All right.
Mhm,
And so guess what? The cost of advertising goes up every year, more competition every single year. There's more ad product types they roll out. So you have, different things to try every single year. The cost of fulfillment, which everybody's up in arms about right now.
Yeah,
is the cost of
inventory
fulfillment.
surcharges.
Yeah. Right. So,
Yeah.
you've become beholden to that environment if you're leveraging their fulfillment, and their traffic is part of the deal. So,
Right.
but it's not in all cases fixed. Like, there's different ways to operate your company that allow you to mitigate some of these fees. And so, like a lot of the fee, there's a new fee called it's like the low inventory fee, right? So if you don't have enough inventory,
Right.
then they charge you a fee. Well, guess what? That might force you to operate your supply chain a bit better and a bit
Right.
cleaner and a more automated way.
Right.
Okay. So what happens always is the cream rises to the top, and the good operators will figure out ways to operate within the environment that Amazon is creating, right? There's really nothing you can do about it. So if you want to participate and you want to take advantage of all the traffic and all the trust and all the reviews, you have a choice. But you do have a choice as a business owner in how you operate your business. And if you're constantly refining and finding efficiencies in other places, you can absorb these issues and figure out ways to operate better. So, I don't know, for me, Steve, it always goes up every year. And if I'm a brand, I'm using it as an opportunity, because I know that the poor operators are not going to be able to sustain themselves, which is more market share, more opportunity for me.
Yeah. No, I love that, because when I read some of all these like fee adjustments that are happening, I think it is overwhelming for some people when they hear this inbound placement fees and outbound fees and storage fees and
all of it.
It's insane. But at the end of the day, I think you're right. A good operator will understand, do I need to be in 5 FBA warehouses when I'm selling umbrellas? I only need to be in the Pacific Northwest, maybe, and not in Arizona. Like, I think there's ways of intelligently managing your inventory also.
Yeah.
And then
software can help, to your earlier point. Tech and software and AI and all these things can help, right? So, maybe your ad costs are going up and you need some sort of AI-based software to keep your tacos down. Like, I don't know. I've said this for years. I still think it's true. It's like running an Amazon business is like flying a plane, right? Yeah. Like, all the knobs and levers and buttons and everything's got to be working simultaneously to keep the plane, flying. And this is no difference.
So I want to pivot a bit to a story. I'm always motivated why people choose the agency world versus the unfortunate kind of DIY or set it and forget it thing, or they've just had a really horrible agency that really didn't become a true partner with the business. So can you talk a little bit about, maybe, I don't know, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but you can talk more in general numbers or specific brands if they don't mind the call out, but saying, hey, they were not on Amazon or doing it poorly. They learned about ChannelKey, and then you executed with your team and your software. And then what did it look like on the other end?
Man, so we've worked with hundreds of brands over the years. We've worked with in varying categories. We leverage some of the best software that exists on the planet. We've done billions of dollars in transactions through the platform. And we see some good case studies. I mean, we've got I know we've got a supplement brand right now that we're working with that came to us that was doing this probably 2 years ago. They were doing about $300,000 a month. D2C presence, good social presence, and through, honestly, one of the strategies that you and I talked about around continuity, through the
subscribe and save
leveraging of technology and building out a more specific ad strategy around new customer acquisition, like that business is on pace to do close to $50 million this year, right? So like they had no idea around continuity, subscribe and save. They weren't doing DSP. They weren't leveraging Amazon Marketing Cloud. Had no idea on how to acquire new customers and understand the math equation around LTV and what that means. And so by leveraging us and our strategy and our skill sets and quite honestly, our relationships with Amazon, I mean, we've, almost 10x'd that business in a matter of years. And I mean, there's so many other countless examples, Steve. I mean, we're working with a Fortune 100 consumer technology brand right now that struggles in a lot of ways, with a lot of basic blocking and tackling. And in a lot of cases, it's simply they lack strategy, have no idea where to even begin. And we start from the bottom up with, catalog work and catalog optimization and organizing their products to variate correctly, to drive increased conversion rates, to then moving into traffic driving and efficient traffic driving and taking market share. So, I mean, across the board, Steve, there's I have countless examples, countless case studies. We've done a lot of work in the pet category. Got blogs on our website and case studies on our website around that. We actually have a client that sells live trees on Amazon that we've been with for quite some time. And we were able to triple their Amazon sales in short order through just doing some of the basic blocking and tackling of creating retail readiness on Amazon and implementing a proper ad strategy. So I would say, Steve, I've got so many examples. And I would say listeners, go to ChannelKey.com and go check out our case studies, go check out our blogs. There's a ton of content there.
I'm there now. I should syndicate some of this content because it really is very impactful thought leadership stuff going on here. But it's nice, the actual, the brass tacks, getting into the tactics of what people are doing and why and how it's working. And I think that's, I think it opens the lead pipeline for you also, because clearly we have Fortune 100 making a decision to work with you, but then you're also willing to work with a brand that's doing a couple $100,000 a month on their Shopify store, product market fit, but not doing Amazon at the top that they should.
Yeah.
Channel Key fits into that mold like perfectly.
We can, right? We're familiar with all phases of the life cycle. We rarely take on kind of net new brands, but sometimes we do, especially in the D2C scenario. And actually yesterday we signed up a new client that is net new, that is launching a brand and a product type for the very first time, which we rarely do. But we see the dynamics, we see the data, we know who the operators are, we know what the infrastructure is, and we can see path to growth and profitability. So I don't know, it's fun. Like I live in Vegas, Steve. We like to pick winners here in Vegas, and that's the same with our clients. We want to try and pick winners, and it's the truth.
So I want to talk a little bit about the industry of Amazon in general, because I think the narrative is that there are some misconceptions about Amazon. I mean, we're talking about the upside right now, but are there any myths or anything that you'd like to address or debunk as it relates to Amazon and how a business can get involved, or if they're evil, they're going to steal your product and knock it off? There's a lot of weirdness going on out there. So I was curious to see from your perspective, if there's anything that you want to kind of, share or debunk, or just the industry in general, how you feel about it.
Man, this is a good question.
I know. I like putting people on the spot. It's just weird because there are some really weird narratives about Amazon that I think are untrue.
Yeah. And I'll just riff with you on this right off the top of my head. So Amazon views the end consumer as their customer. Okay. It doesn't view the brands or the agency or the software providers in most cases as a customer.
Right.
Okay. Now they've gotten a lot better over the years, and like we're partners with Amazon, and we do a lot of work with their ads groups, and like they treat us like partners, and it's very valuable, and we love our contacts.
Right.
But on the retail side of the business, it can be really challenging to work with the platform.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you can't just pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, this is clearly an issue. Can you help me fix it? It doesn't work like that.
Right.
Okay. Like, hey, you just pulled down my shoe listing for a pesticide claim. It's like, what does that even mean? Why does that even make sense? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So there's a lot of things that happen on Amazon that's just like you scratch your head and you're like, why? Like this doesn't make sense. And furthermore, why can't I just call somebody and say, yep, you're right. Let me flip the switch and fix it for you. Like it doesn't work like that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's challenging. It's part of the reason why I'm in business, to be honest with you, because it's challenging. It's never not been challenging.
How about returns? Because a lot of brands, especially in the shoe market, apparel and stuff, have a lot of returns. And so if they want to get on Amazon, especially in the shoe market, a lot of people are buying 2 sizes and 3 sizes because they really want the shoes. I'm guilty of that too. What's your take on that? And is that just kind of net part of the profitability that you just the costs of doing business, and where do these returns go? And how are they repackaged up and reused again? I know it's different in the consumable market where it has to be destroyed just because it's just consumable. But in fashion and apparel, what have you seen about how returns are handled on Amazon? It's different if it's your own site. They come back to your warehouse, you deal with it. But what happens if it goes back to FBA?
Yes, good question. So if you work in soft lines on Amazon, you're selling shoes, you're selling apparel, a lot of variations, you probably have a high return rate in a lot of cases. And Amazon supports that environment, to be honest with you. I mean, sometimes the problems are worse on Amazon versus your website, and sometimes the inverse is true. So Amazon, if you're selling via Prime and FBA, which most people do, they'll accept your returns regardless. As a consumer. So it's very friendly to the consumer in that way. Now, if you're a brand, some product types you're not allowed to return. Like if you sell like underwear, like sometimes you can't return it, and you're never going to get it back as a brand, right? So it can be a tough category. For us as an agency, our focus is always how do we mitigate returns? Right. And you do that with content work, with size charts, with different, things you can put in the title, or the bullet points or descriptions to mitigate those types of returns.
Right.
If Amazon receives it back and they deem it sellable, they'll put it right back in inventory and you're good to go. Right. But sometimes it's not sellable, and sometimes brands don't have control over that, and it can be a pain point. So that's I don't know. Soft lines can be really challenging on Amazon in general for a lot of different reasons.
I've noticed too that some items that are low priced, especially if they're not Prime, they're not FBA, they're kind of the brand ships it direct. I'm finding that a lot of them, the cost to the brand to have to accept the return, they just say donate it to charity and don't send it back, and we'll give you a refund. So what's your take on that?
I mean, it's a financial equation, literally. I mean, in a lot of cases, it's just cheaper to destroy the inventory and perhaps write it off. So it's not always the case. If you're selling a high dollar item, then you're not going to want to do that. But if you're selling a $15 scarf or something, it's like, what's the point of dealing with the reverse logistics? You should destroy it. So it comes down to what does the math tell us to do?
So let's just talk just quickly about the onboarding process. So let's say someone decides, hey, ChannelKey is for me. I'm going to go to the website. I'm going to learn more. I know we talked, before, hey, if you want to get a hold of you directly, LinkedIn's a great way to get a hold of you. But like what does it look like when someone says, hey, I want you to learn more about my business? And then what does onboarding look like when they say, yes, I'm ready to go with you guys to help me get to the next level?
Yeah. So our process, and I mentioned this earlier, we're very selective in who we work with because we want to make sure we can create a good outcome. So like part of our core process is to evaluate all new potential prospects and businesses and partnerships. And so that's a core part of our process. So if anybody went to channelkey.com, or if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm super active on putting out content. Like one of the things we do, we don't charge for it, is we do an audit for clients or for possible brand partners. And we'll tell you what the opportunity is for you on Amazon, if it's good or bad or amazing. And we do that for free because it's part of our diligence process. So that's the first step. And then once our clients kind of start with us, we have a very specific onboarding process, and a person on our staff, his name is Joe, is in charge of onboarding our clients. And we do it in a very systematic way, in a way that is around building very robust strategic business plans and then executing those plans for our clients. So it's very systematic. It's very structured. And we do it, quite honestly, on the fundamental basis of data and opportunity. And that starts with the audit that we'll do that brands can come to our website and sign up for.
I'll put all this in the show notes for sure, so we can kind of, those that are listening, if you're in that sweet spot and you just feel that either you have no Amazon presence, or you feel that you're net loss right now, or you feel you're just overwhelmed with kind of just the craziness that's going on Amazon and the competitiveness that's there, it's very clear, Dan, you have a team and access to, to software that really, and you're truly an operator yourself. So you kind of get it. Like it's just not fluff. And I really appreciate that. And, when there's Fortune 100s making the decision to actually work with ChannelKey, and they can vet anybody, and they choose you. And so that's interesting. And so I always tell it to brands, I say, hey, if let's say if someone was going to get an email marketing platform, there's lots out there, but most in the D2C probably go with Klaviyo. Now, it's just one of those things that it seems to be like the default. And so I think that's kind of where you're kind of fitting into the mix right now where, yeah, you can vet a couple different partners out there, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find, there are technology partners that have, Amazon type DSP solutions, but they don't have an agency to actually be a true partner in the business. And I think that's where you're very, very unique. So I commend you on that because I think that's the difference. You're not building your own technology. You're utilizing other people's technology, but you have the human capital to be able to execute on it and build relationships with the brands that you work with.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. I say this all the time is we are in the people business, 100%. It's in the strength of ChannelKey's and our team and our experience and our commitment to delivering for clients in a diverse way. And we use the best in class tech that we can find. We don't build it ourselves. I think I mentioned this to you, but we tried that and we said, you know what, we're going to use the best tech available because that's who we are. And so that's what we do. So it's a combination of and a blend of experience, best of breed technology, and just amazing talent that we have on our team to execute. And we've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. This is lovely. I love it. Thank you, Dan, for coming on the show today. I joke on the show, but I'm on page 3 now of notes. So it clearly means it's a good episode because there's just so much to learn and I'm going to pay it forward. That's why this podcast is out here today. I really want to educate people that Amazon is a tremendous opportunity. Do not get overwhelmed with it. There are partners like you at ChannelKey that can actually help people. And I massively appreciate that and leverage other people's technologies and stuff too. Best in breed, using AI and human capital. So I think that's great.
That's right.
I wish you tremendous success continuing on your journey. Thank you for your transparent sharing and openness today. I really appreciate that and wish you continued success.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, Steve. Thanks for having me and same to you.
All right, take care. Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.